Shoot, I promise it was going to be good.
That's how we should start the video. I promise it's going to be good. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Ben and this is
Robby.
And this is a video we wanted to do about habits. Habits are very important when you're starting a new thing that you're learning, or you're trying to get in or break into something different. It's one of the first points I wanted to bring up, especially for me when I was starting into photography, is you want to start small with your habits. And to me, this looked like I was watching one YouTube video and then I would be going right into like, okay, I'm going to practice this. And like, I don't know, I spent maybe 15 to 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Maybe not even every day, but try to make it every day. But I would spend like just a little bit of time learning one single concept. That's what I did with editing. Like with Lightroom, I would take a photo and then I would watch a YouTube video that was kind of reflective of the photo that I was trying to learn to edit. So like if I was doing portraiture, I would like, hey mom, can I take a photo of you? Or my dog was my first model most of the time. And so that's how I practiced a lot. And then I'd go into Lightroom and I would follow along with a YouTube tutorial on how to edit just all the time. And just repeated doing that. And then now, like, I love editing. Lightroom is my thing because I built those blocks up to be able to have the talent at it that I do now. So that really leads into the point when it comes to starting small of it's a lot of, you start with this small like little bricks at a time. You're not trying to build the whole bridge at once, or else you'll just get burnt out. Like if you're looking at the big project of like, I've got to get across this river to be good at what I'm trying to do. So you start looking at the bridge you have to build, and it's intimidating. And that's why start with the little bricks, and day after day, you'll be surprised with, oh, how did I get here? And it's the little things every single day.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me into crafting your routine. It's so important to figure out a way that works for you to keep mental margin so that you can continue doing what you're wanting to be doing. I always love the example of Steve Jobs. His wardrobe was all black turtleneck, long sleeve, black pants, black shoes, and that's all he ever wore. And it's because he was wanting to create the space for creativity in other places. So focusing your creativity and creating a sustainable routine is just so incredibly important.
Removing that decision fatigue.
Yes.
The more decisions you have to make in the day, it lessens the energy and power you have to make decisions that you really want to make.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what leads to burnout.
Yeah.
Because you don't even realize you're spending all this energy on something else instead of allowing that space for what you need to be focusing on. And so creating this routine, right? You start so small, like we talked about, and you do something what's super obtainable to you, like creating a video once a month that's 30 seconds long. Is that obtainable to you? Do you want to try to stretch yourself a little bit more? But also it needs to feel almost easy, like, yeah, I can do that. And then that way it's something that you are doing, because consistency being so incredibly important, once a month is consistent. It might not feel like you're doing a ton and you're really probably not doing all that much, but this is something where we're trying to start the habit, put it in place, and then allow ourselves to grow that habit into something bigger.
Yeah, it's so much of habits and discipline. It's so essential to creativity, because without discipline, you're kind of letting your creativity be at the mercy of inspiration. And if you're building the habits and you're building that discipline, you'll be ready for when inspiration comes.
You know,
so much of what feels like my best photos were by chance.
Yeah.
I was able to seize that opportunity and seize that chance because I was showing the discipline of being there, of showing up.
Getting up early,
staying out late, like whatever it takes. Like, though by being disciplined, you are not allowing yourself to just be subject to chance. You are taking advantage of those opportunities when they come up. And with more practice, you're going to get better at recognizing those opportunities, and to the point where it no longer feels like chance. You're able to create a photo, you're able to create a video, or whatever you're wanting to do. You're able to, like, it feels like conjuring it out of thin air, like magic.
Yeah, it does.
But the discipline is what made it possible.
Yeah, exactly. I think I get asked a lot of times when I'm photographing some type of a special event or something, and people see the photos later on, and they were there, and they're like, wait a second, how did you see that? wait, how were you in this spot, capturing this moment at this time? It's just so, everything's landing so well. And it's like, I think a lot of the perception is, man, you just happen to be in the right space at the right time. It's like, no, I found the framing, I saw the way that the light was looking, and I knew a moment was coming, or I was super patient, and I waited for a moment to come, and then you capture that moment. And so it's, what they always say is, I'm going to butcher this, but it's like the luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And like, that's what this is. You got to prepare for all these potential things that you could get thrown at you, because sometimes you could be out shooting, something else is going to change, weather's different, who knows what's going on. And if you have been creating habits where you are learning on a regular basis, you're going to be so much more ready for that opportunity.
That leads to point 3. And point 3 is, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but habit stacking.
Oh yeah, I love it.
This was, I think, James Clear in his book Atomic Habits.
Tons of habits books.
There's tons, but James Clear's Atomic Habits, he lays it out even as habit stacking around where you start small, like we were talking about.
Yep.
Small, repeatable, easy, obtainable.
Yeah.
And then you add another habit on top of that. For me, I like kind of bundling like habits. I don't know if he lays out that it should be like habits you stack on top of each other, but for me, I do try to stack like habits together. I mentioned how I would go out and take one photo a day, and then I would watch some videos on how to edit in Lightroom. And then after that, I would watch some videos, okay, what is the best formatting for this to work on Instagram? And I learned, this was way back 2017, 2016, Instagram was a different beast than it is now. It feels different, more innocent.
Yeah, it did. It was
more innocent than it is now.
Less algorithm.
It was less algorithms, and it just was like, oh, some friends sharing some cool stuff. But I still wanted to learn, like, that's how I got so engaged in the photography community. And I learned social media, and combining like photography, social media, how to edit, it really kind of kickstarted my career into where I am now.
Yeah.
So just stacking all the little things together makes it a little bit easier. And so when you're trying to fall into a routine, you start knowing how much time to even allot that.
Yeah.
And
mentally and physical time.
The decision becomes hard. Like, I was about to say decision becomes harder. The decision becomes easier to do, because it's going to start this whole process, this whole chain of events. It's easier to make that initial decision than a ton of little decisions.
Yes.
So once you start that whole process, it's regular in your routine.
For example, it's so easy to run a marathon. Not really, right? You have to start small before you get there. And there's even an app called Couch to 5K. And so it's like, you got to get off the couch, in this example, and then you have to go and take those first steps, and then you have to run a mile, and then you have to run 2 miles, and then you run 3, and then you start worrying about how fast you run the thing, and all of a sudden, before you know it, if you continue that habit, you get to a point that you probably never thought was even obtainable. So it's really just a life lesson of how we get to where we want to go, and the truth is, you just start, and you start small.
Yeah. So point number 4 I really wanted to talk about is making it fun. And this can look like a lot of different things depending on who you are.
Yes.
For me, I love having community and friends to do it with, because it's not a lot of fun going out on your own early in the morning, or to try to do something that maybe feels more like your irregular practice, and it can be monotonous, it can feel a little boring, but having somebody else to the mix to either challenge you or just to make it a little bit more exciting, makes it easier to do. And it feels more like you're hanging out while learning something new.
Yeah.
Hopefully you still try to do some learning, but it's just make it fun. Make the little things fun, whether that's a reward system for yourself. If I do this for 30 days, that will let me get this new lens that I've been looking at.
Ooh, I like this game.
Yeah. I've been trying to do that recently in my own life too. Of like, if I want to get something, buy something, or there's something new I want to do, it's like, well, I got to establish the habit ahead of time before I will let myself buy the thing.
Yeah.
First off, it's done a lot with just trying to save me money, because I have a lot of ideas of things I want to do.
And tons of things in the closet of habits that didn't play out.
So like for me, I want to get into the habit of journaling. And I keep looking at like, ooh, an iPad would be cool, or those little like e-tablets that you can write on look so cool.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I have to start journaling pen and paper, first off, using what I have, using the stuff I have.
Let's go.
Yeah, right. And if I do that for, let's say, I think I set for myself, I want to do it for 90 days. And,
Yeah.
you know, I can get one of these tablets or something that I was really excited about initially. Well, newsflash, I really haven't done any journaling at all. So I have not gotten myself a tablet or anything like that. But the point I'm trying to make is create some sort of reward system, and that also allows you to find out what's kind of important to you.
Yeah.
So the community aspect of it not only makes it fun for me, but it's also an accountability measure.
Yep.
And accountability is really important.
Yep.
Because you kind of need somebody or a community that can really hold you to it. Like I said at the beginning of this, it's not a lot of fun getting out really early in the morning and doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody who's counting on you to be there, it's more likely that you're going to go.
Yeah. It's similar to running. You know, you have a buddy that's going to run with you. You're more than likely you're going to go and do that run. If you don't, the voices in your head, they might win. And so in order to establish these habits and stuff like that, sometimes it takes most of the time, it takes the individual choice on a regular basis to establish a habit. But sometimes the longevity of that habit can be determined by the people that you're doing it with.
And then, yeah. So make it fun. Find a community to do it with, and because that's both fun and it's being accountable.
Yeah.
All right, which leads us to point 5, which is,
I don't remember.
which brings us to point number 5.
Patience and flexibility.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a ton through all of this, but like the patience with yourself, patience with what's going on, patience to buy new gear and invest money into something that you're wanting to start doing.
Yeah, with patience comes grace, which is the last video, which you should watch.
Definitely watch that one. So I think it's over there, right?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. So watch that.
Now we know what that feels like. But then also flexibility, because so much is going to happen. Things are going to change. Seasons will change. Life situations will change. And so remember, once a month is consistent. Once a year is consistent. It's very little. But like, encourage yourself. Like, well, you can get there if this is something you're really wanting to do. And if you don't, maybe it's not something that's really, it's not something you're really wanting to do. It's possible. So have fun, accountability, flexibility, patience. What were the first 2?
Habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
Point number 3. But habits, yes, start small, because then you can build the bigger bridges out of the small little the bricks that you start with.
Yep. And start.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our 3rd video.
Yeah.
Here now.
That's Ben, and I'm Robby.
About to do the same thing. I don't know. Anyway, but we're at the Lovely Bean, and we hope you enjoyed the background and the ambiance of Chicago's Cloud Gate as the official name.
Yep.
But it's just the Bean.
The Bean.